Hello, everybody. I hope the apocalypse is treating you well. We've got a special guest with us today, Icedbecker, aka Ryan, who's working as part of a group to organise tournaments for Tabletop Simulator. Most recently, he's done some rookie tournaments to try and get new players into Tabletop Simulator, which is great because at the moment, any game is a good game. So, welcome to the channel, Ryan. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
No bother. We have the standard guest question of what's your favourite faction? Stolen from the Galactic Civil War podcast.
Sure, I'm a rebel player through and through, but I am been enjoying the separatists too as they've come out.
They are a nice bit of red dice everywhere. So we have decided to go through the lists for May the 4th Open, organised by Large Package, aka Mac. So we're going to go through the lists. Now, if the lists have objectives, and we call out your we're not probably not going to mention the objectives, but if you see your list has objectives, go on the tabletop TO site and edit your list and remove the objectives, because it's a severe competitive advantage if somebody can see your objectives. So we're just going to try and scroll past them as quickly as possible if they do come up, but word to the wise, edit your list if your objective is there. All right, and I'll try and experiment with timestamps. I do not in any way, shape or form guarantee anybody a timestamp to their list. But we'll experiment afterwards and see. But listen, thanks for joining me, Ryan, to go through these. It's going to be a big tournament. We have 56 players, so just 4 short of the Italian Open. And we've got a mix of new players and seasoned veterans. So it's a good idea to get an idea of some lists people are building.
Yeah, this will, I think, really set. This is our first kind of meta-defining event since the new stuff has come out. A lot of new cards that we're going to be seeing, a lot of new admirals. So it's going to be pretty exciting to see how they all play out. We have 18. The biggest faction is 18 of Galactic Republic. So.
And like I think MC30s and Krakens, I haven't looked. I'm expecting to see a lot of like onager dodging stuff, but sure we'll see.
Yeah, a lot. Only not many onagers in the field, and I think a lot of people tacked against that. So we'll see.
Yeah,
see how
like
that works.
The onager is a hardship, but if you're teched against it, sometimes it just sits there and does nothing. So let's start with Ophian McGill. I am sure I'm getting that name wrong. But we have the list name Exploding Kittens. So we have Moff Jerry on an ISD2, Expert Shield Techs, Gunnery Teams, Reactive Gunnery, Point Defense Ion Cannons, Link Turbo Laser Towers. So it looks like that ISD is just get in there, try and survive as much as possible with the Expert Shield Techs. Gunnery teams shoot as much as possible, and reactive gunnery. And then 2 Architons, Expert Shield Techs, reactive gunnery, and the turbo lasers, along with a Hand of Justice. So the Hand of Justice is the refresh a token one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I like how those have avoided. They've avoided turbo laser reroute circuits just so that they have the evade. 2 Gazantes, and then just Sienna Ree and 3 TIE fighters to keep people busy.
Yeah, it's interesting. All of his combat ships have reactive gunnery, which isn't something you see a whole lot, but in the Empire at least. So he'll be firing back at you when you choose to shoot at him.
Yeah, like it's only 1 red on the Architons most of the time, but it's just every little bit of chip damage.
And with the heavy turbo lasers, that'll be a crit every time at least. So
yep. So it's a guaranteed 1 damage, and it means he can avoid. He's up to avoid an intensify firepower. which is interesting, but makes sense. Like finding the cost for everything. He's got
Hmm.
397. I don't know. Personally, part of me is like, I wonder about those comms nets. And like, if you're trying this kind of thing, you could just strip out the comms nets, and you've got TIE fighters, so why not reserve hangar bays to keep them around a bit longer, maybe? But then
Hmm.
again, keeping that ISD so it's always got repairs because it's Gergeroding, it's always got concentrate fire tokens for the gunnery teams, and it's just fly in there, get where it wants to do, arc dodge like a mad thing. You've got 5 activations, which is a decent amount. What's the overall average for the activations, or have you looked at that? Ryan has done a lot more
Uh,
preparation than I have, by the way. Let's be clear. I've done none. He's
uh,
done loads.
we're seeing a lot of variation. I don't know what the average one is, but I've seen one up to 7. Also, a lot of 2 activations, which are double larges, which are mostly Venators. Double Venators we've seen. So we're pretty varied, but I mean 5 will get you activation advantage most of the time. It looks like in
Yep.
this tournament.
And with those double Venators, how many are double double Salvo Luminaras? We'll find out together. It's an
Yeah.
interesting list. That ISD2 is scary in a world where ISD2s have kind of been relegated to the bin at the moment. I do like how tricky it is, and this thing can dodge onagers. The SD2 can. The Architons maybe less so, but it doesn't give up too much deployment advantage with
Hmm.
its. This has 7 drops. That's not too bad. And also, if we look back at the start, he's got the first W on the table because one game has been played so far, and that's himself against James McCarthy. Maldor 888, whose list we're on to next, and it's a grievous list. So he's got the Providence, and man, is that an expensive Providence. 105 Passel, so you know what he's fairly predictable for the first 3 turns, and then turn 4 goes nuts. Flight controllers, boosted comms, external racks, point defense ions for keeping it alive. I have not played enough with point defense ions, but even reading the card, it just looks lovely.
It's
Turbo,
devastating.
yeah, turbo laser, XI7 turbo lasers. So really just drilling down. Link turbo laser towers. So basically, I don't care. I don't need those accuracies. I just want to do damage, and I will continue to do damage to the same hull zone. And thermal shields. So this thing is tough. It's got Grievous, so it can just burn through the brace and then get something killed. So this is a Providence that you would be hard set to murder, particularly at long range. And at short range, then you're dealing with external racks and you're dealing with point defense cannons. Um, I really like it. What are your
It looks
thoughts on the
like
Providence?
it's nasty. It looks like it'll take point with the hard cell projection experts there, kind of just throwing shields onto it as it goes into the fire. I mean, it's if it can ever double arc anything, it'll nuke it.
Yeah,
Um, I think, and this is an archetype that I'm seeing a lot in this tournament of one big separatist ship and 2 hard cells plus 100 plus of fighters. So we're seeing this kind of thing quite a bit, and separatists I think have trouble getting activations, so they're settling in at about 3 activations.
yeah. Um, that hard sell though, we've got one bomber command. Grand, this is perfect. It makes those hyena bombers scary as all hell. But I love this little Tickles Projection Experts CommsNet Beast of Burden module because it literally just follows the Providence around and does whatever the Providence wants. It's giving it whatever token the Providence wants each turn while repairing all the way down. And then the Providence, like from turn 3 and 4, is probably commanding squadrons, and on turn 4, it's commanding squadrons for free,
Yeah,
which is fantastic.
I think it's a well thought out fleet.
Yeah. The squadron ball, then we've got DBS 404. Your ship is not found. The Bactoid prototypes, they're the ones that add the accuracy.
Yep.
And then, so that's 5 Hyena bombers running around with a bomber command center. Anybody who hasn't brought squads, yeah, you're just not getting through this.
No, and he's going to activate all bombers at once with the Providence. Throw a whole bunch of 10 reds at least, maybe 11 with DBS, and then good luck surviving whatever the Dreadnought's going to throw at you after that.
Yep. But obviously, a small screen will work against this because he lost his first match, and all that was present was Sienna and 3 TIE fighters. So small screens could, like, this is the thing, the Separatists having to jump in to deal with small screens is not great for them. Because they can get flaked to death. So it's a scary, scary fighter wing, but it can be dealt with. Anything more you want to say on Malador 888?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. Dan Redmond. Oh yeah, we missed, what was the last name? Heavy Providence version 3 was Malador's list name. This one is Venator 2 is the name of Dan Redmond's. This is fairly self-explanatory. Admiral Tarkin. Venator 2, clone gunners, splat cannon, thermal shields. So fairly standard. The clone gunners, I can see their great value there. Particularly if you've got Tarkin handing out stuff. The splat cannon, all those little smalls running around, splatting stuff like Chargers, CR90s, Raiders. And the clone gunners getting that accuracy, or that second accuracy, considering how many blues you have. And thermal shields just makes it tough. And then we've a Venator 1 with Tranquility, which is the one that gives you tokens, right? Or is the pseudo redirect one?
Right.
Yes, the pseudo redirect one. All the new cards. I don't know about you, Ryan, but just remembering them all, it just, because they all look the same.
I'm glad we get to see what we're flying against before it happens, so I can look up what the cards and see what they actually do.
Yep. But the Venator 1 has the intensified firepower. Tarkin will just keep feeding that. Ordnance experts reserve hangar decks for keeping the torrents alive, as always. Assault concussion missiles. So I'm not 100% sure about assault concussion missiles. At the moment, with the way evades are working, it's kind of tricky. Linked turbo laser towers and Tranquility. So again, fairly survivable, not as survivable as the thermal shields Venator 2, but this is the one for getting in there fast. Charger with reserve hangar deck and turbo laser reroute circuits. So if we're just chipping away that damage, so you can see there the kind of with the turbo laser reroute circuits, intensify firepower, and the assault concussion missiles. I suppose the good thing there is it's all about chipping off shields. So even if they're doing some fancy Republic redirect, then the assault concussion missiles kick in, and then you've got the turbo is reroute circuits, and it's just chip, chip, chip. And then the redirects won't matter after a while.
It's a nice squad ball with,
yeah.
With Axe and 219 Torrents and Delta and Luminara, and then the double reserve hangar decks to bring back the V19. So it should be able to protect the ships.
Yeah, I wonder about the Delta 7. It just seems like if that gets double arced by a Muni, or even gets hit by one bout of LTT, it could be gone. I wonder there, like, do you have an arc instead and save yourself 2 points?
Yeah,
or is another torrent even better?
You can get a little bit of a bid. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough call. I think I will say one thing on Tarkin. He's the most popular Republic admiral for this game, or for this tournament, and five of the Republic players are playing him. Every single Tarkin player has brought along a slat. as well, which makes a lot of sense
Yep.
given the tokens will be feeding that monster. So
How many of them have intensify firepower?
that I haven't seen much. So that's an interesting upgrade.
Yeah, I presume a couple of them are probably dual slats. This is going to be a scary list. Very good fighter cover. I'm like, maybe I'm wrong on the Aether sprite. I presume with a bit of practice you can keep it away from flak, which is the dangerous thing. But yeah, it looks like a solid list. And I really like the clone gunners.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else you want to say on Venator by 2?
I'm good.
So now we have Boba Fett in a horrible format. So do we have a list? It's just Sloan. I don't see a list name here.
No, it looks similar. It looks pretty much the same as what he ran in the Battle for Hoth tournament.
So we've just got an interdictor suppressor, Admiral Sloan, Tua, flak guns, grav shift, reroute circuits, engine techs, interdictor title, and reactive gunnery. Quasar fire, cruiser carrier. So that's the cheaper one. Taskmaster, flight controllers, boosted comms, expanded hangar bay. Gazantes, Marek, Jendon, Howlrunner, Valen, Saber, and 4 TIE squadron, TIE interceptors. Am I missing something here? That seems very hard. Like it doesn't have a bid, and it looks like it doesn't have a lot of ship fire.
Yeah, I just think it wins the squadron game, right? It's just dominates the squadron game. And then the interdictor is a little bit of a tank, but with engine techs, which is super nice to see on the interdictor. It can get out of trouble if it needs to be. And I don't think I've never seen him fly this fleet, but I don't think he's going to put the Quasar in a position where you can ever fire a shot at it.
Yeah.
What would be my guess? The flat guns reactive gunnery is really interesting. I guess that's the one change from that I can see from his prior fleet. But I just think it's just, he will win the squad game. This is as good as it'll get with the reserve hangar decks. And it's how much damage can you do, or what objectives do you have after that to score you points?
Yeah. I suppose, like, surprise attack. Like, it looks like looks like most people would force him to go first. And play into their objectives. But it's tricky.
You're right, because if he goes first, he gets that Quasar off. It just sends 6 squads at you. It'll be rough.
It will be rough. It is a very tough list. I haven't played against it, and I really should. Hopefully,
it would be interesting to see how this does against like an all-ship Luminara or something.
Yeah. But it's still tricky. Okay. Anything more to say on that list?
Nope, I'm good.
So we've Justin Legrishi, I think, a Notorious GMT final. Apologies, Justin, if I have pronounced your name wrong. I almost definitely have. And here we have a Tarkin list, but it's not a Republic list. And we've got an ISD2 again. With Tarkin, Reva, local fire control, flak guns, electronic countermeasures, leading shots, turbo lasers, and sovereign. So somebody looked at the Luminara multiple salvo lists and went, the Imperials can do that too. And yeah, flak guns, really cool with the local fire control team. Reva to ready the salvo, and electronic countermeasures to make sure you always get the salvo, and then sovereign to do sovereign things and hand out tokens. And we've got interdictor suppression refit. Now this list has a bid of 6, so I'm guessing here with this you've got surprise attack, you've got infested fields, and probably, Wait, actually, he's got his objectives above, so I'm going to shut up and scroll past them. Oh God, I am so good at this. So Palpatine making hitting that interdictor even more painful. Projection experts, disposable capacitors, grav shift, experimental protectors, heavy ion emplacements, and interdictor. So the grav shift is the one which moves stuff around, right? And the
Yep.
G8 is for slowing you down. Then we've got the Architons, so we've got Iden Versio for keeping it alive. Engine techs, reactive gunnery, handling turbo laser towers, and Hand of Justice. So it seems like 2 ships to make that IST horrible to shoot and make sure all of its stuff comes back. So it can effectively salvo 4 times in a row.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about that Architens. It's a little beefy. Of an 88
Yeah.
88 point Architens is a lot. That might be the ship that you target, that you get picked off. But the ISD2 is putting out a ton of damage. I would have maybe liked to have seen. I mean, heavy ion emplacements on the interdictor I always like to see, for that kind of spike damage. So it'll work. It's interesting what's its plan for fighters. I'm not sure what it's going to be able to. That
A
seems to be the
Highly Bomber
vulnerability.
6 might just, and I would go in on the interdictor, because the other 2 of the reactive have the salvo tokens. That's fine. But yeah, as soon as like the interdictor starts taking 3 hyena bombers to the face, and I want to comment on the objectives, but I won't, because we said we won't. But yeah, Justin, fix your list. Get rid of your objectives. Now, next we have Adan Newton. Maybe that's meant to be Adan, or maybe it's meant to be Adam.
I think it's Adam.
I am known for an old bit of an old misspell myself. We've got the Akbar Air Force. He's got 388, so that is a bid to beat all bids. That's the biggest we've seen so far anyway. So he's got an assault frigate Mark B. So Admiral Akbar, Intel Officer, Kaken and Sholan, electronic countermeasures and slave turrets. So that when it hits like a truck. And then we've got 2 corvettes with TRCs, one with Jaina's Light, because you have to. Then 2 transports, comms nets, and then we've got Hera, Shara, Tycho, 2 YT-2400s, and a VCX. So this list is aiming to go second, I would presume. Do some shenanigans with its objectives, probably with a strategic token or something, and force you to come into it. That's what that says to me.
Yeah, looks like want to bid second and come into the Akbar fire. This is the same list that got second at the Vassal World Cup, and same player. So it'll fly. It'll certainly be a contender in the tournament for sure.
Yeah, a strong squadron list, though, I think stands a good chance of just nailing this to the wall. And also giving, like, if, like, I like stuff like Providences and, more to the point, Recussins coming in. Particularly at speed 3 and being able to get there. But it's tricky. It's tricky. Like, I don't see the fighter wing handing out that much damage, but definitely gets their choice of first or second most of the time with that. But yeah, definitely not one to be discounted considering their performance in the Vassal World Cup. Anything else you'd like to say on that? I feel like we're probably not qualified to comment on this one. Cylindrical Bobcat with the Super B Carrier Mark 2.8, Krista Agate, and has cleverly redacted his objectives. So we've got Agate on the MC-80 command cruiser. We've got flight commanders, fighter coordination team, expanded hangar bay, and electronic countermeasures. So he really wants to be able to brace. Yeah, that feels a bit overkill with the electronic countermeasures and Krista Agate. I get it. Like, I suppose he just doesn't want to. He's got double brace, I would presume. I'd just love to see something like expert shield techs in that officer slot, though.
That
Myself
would be
personally.
that'd be nice. Bobcat is this is one of the things that he flies. It's great. You don't see it a lot anymore, but it's 4 B wings coming at you will dish out a ton of damage.
Yeah.
It is a tough thing to break down. I think like
Yep.
if you're trying to figure out how do I attack this fleet, it all works really well together. I'd love to see maybe a point or two more on the bid, but I don't know where you cut from, just because I think he probably wants to go second would be my guess.
Yeah.
More times than not.
It is hard to know. Like the Pelta, Torrent Fire, fighter coordination team, all fighters follow me in boosted caps. So the Pelta really needs to get in there. But yeah, those B-Wings move at 1,000,000 miles a frickin' hour. So you had better be ready for them. And I know we've got no bigs, but we've got Jan, which is great for just keeping those squads alive. Because the danger here is they get flaked down. But with Jan, that's preventing a lot of the damage.
It's just a soak, it's just a
Yep.
damage soak with the YT and Jan, and Ken is there ready to if you're ganging up on him, just to splash a whole bunch of splash damage at you. It is a tough squad ball to break down.
Yep, and the YT-1300, even just the one in there, it's getting moved by all the fighter coordination teams and stuff, and 7 hull with double brace means that anything it's engaging is in a bit of trouble. But no, that is a terrifying amount of bombers to see come across the table. 5 B-Wings is going to give anyone a bad day. And it'll definitely be interesting against some of those squadless lists that we've seen so far. Anything else you'd like to say on Cylindrical Bobcat?
Nope, I'm good to go on.
Cool. Ryan Crosty, Tranquility and Mercy. So we have a Mercy mission, I would presume, in here on this Venator 2. We've got the pseudo redirect in Adiagalia, Bail Organa. So I think Bail is with the squad lists in Republic. I think he's almost a necessity, just so the Venator doesn't fly off the damn board. He's got flight controllers, flag bridge, electronic countermeasures. The flag bridge is perfect use with Mercy missions. I suppose the only competing slot it's got is reserve hangar bay. Is so good. Electronic countermeasures, which is kind of surprising to me. I would lean into the thermals. That'd be the confusion there for me.
I think that'll be one of the fun things about this tournament in general. This is our first time seeing thermals, so you still have the option to take ECMs, but is thermals a better call ultimately? And I think that'll be something that people kind of work out through this. I don't know the answer for sure.
Yeah, like I can get maybe if you want ECMs for your redirect, but he's got ADIA as well, so that's kind of acting like a pseudo redirect. So to me, tis hard to know. It's hard to know.
Mm-hmm.
Thermals just does so much, like removing all the black dice from a pool or something like that. Anyway, yeah. External racked linked turbo laser towers. We've seen all that before. Tranquility. Again, for moving shields around. So we've got a CR90 with reserve hangar deck and linked turbo laser towers, 2 of them, so kind of basically long range snipers. And then we've got the armed cruiser with the comms net, Hondo, and Radiant 7 coming in at 42. So very cheap comms net. And then squads, we've got Lumi, Ahsoka, Anakin, and 2 V19s. it's all about keeping Anakin alive, I would suppose.
Yeah, it's an interesting squad ball, and I'm not sure what it wants to do. It kind of does a few things differently. Okay, I would say.
Yeah, well, like I'd say it does a good job of keeping Anakin alive, and just then, if Ahsoka gets to move around a bit, they just nip apart the opposing ball until he's ready to bomb people.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's a good. It seems expensive for what it does. That squad ball. That's the only thing. But then
Yeah,
again,
the
maybe it
double.
doesn't. Go ahead.
Sorry, the double reserve hanger decks will come in super handy. I think the interesting, one of the interesting parts about this list is Mercy Mission, because I've never seen it on the table yet. Um, and does that force the opponent to come to you? Are you going to set up a charger all the way on the other side of the board away from everything to guarantee you the points? It'll be interesting to see how that gets
Yeah.
played.
Well, a charger with LTTs is just it's a great sniper anyway.
Hmm.
And it can sit at long range, and it's got the bail dial, so it can concentrate fire, and then if it does need to navigate, so it's 3 red dice coming at long range in all likelihood, if not more, if you get double arced, and it can always just stay out of trouble. The Mercy mission seems good. It'll definitely be interesting. It's at 1 point bid. So next we have Mechanic. So double Ven, double Pelta Luminara is literally the name of the list. So we've got, yeah, this is all about the salvo. So not only do we have local fire control on both Venators, we have reactive gunners on both Peltas. Projection experts on the Peltas, parts resupply and munitions resupply so pretending they're Tarkin. And expert shield techs, because, why not? Expert shield techs on and Adigalia on the 2 Venators. Take evasive action so that the Venators don't fly off the board. Flak guns, external racks, heavy turbo lasers and tranquility on the first one, and then similar except we've got Resolute. These are very survivable ships. They've got a big bid, so I'm guessing they're going second into any squad-based list. And I would guess, objective-wise, we're probably talking infested fields, asteroid tactics, and probably surprise attacks so they can beat the living daylights out of the flagship, or something like that. Again, I worry against a rake of hyenas, but those pelters are going to be tough.
Yeah, if you brought squads against this, I hope you brought enough ship firepower too to take out some of this, because your squad firepower will be neutered for sure. Um, I don't know, about I know it was for points. The Venator one always get nervous about not having a defensive retrofit. But I think, that's what Luminara and Adi is there for. So it's nice to see a squadless list that it's just kind of pushing back on squads and saying, nope, you're not going to do any damage here.
It's very tanky, particularly with the expert shield techs. Um, like the only thing is a big ship comes in to the side, gets 2 accuracies. It could be bad, particularly on.
Hmm.
If I was fighting it, I'd probably focus the flagship, and then the list is a hell of a lot less tanky, a hell of a lot less maneuverable. I nearly want to take evasive action on the other Venator one.
Hmm. That's a good.
Um, just because maybe you need to get out. But it definitely like that. That is ferociously tanky Venators. Like the problem if it was Venator 2s is they just wouldn't hit hard enough most of the time. I think that's the problem with the Venator 2. And if you're doing double Venator 2, I
Yeah, I mean, with the flak guns will be super interesting to see how that works with the X racks, and then the DVY. I mean, it's going to hurt to shoot it too. It's really gonna. This is I really like this list. It's very inventive.
yeah, It is definitely pretty cool. Definitely pretty cool. Okay, next we are on to Myth Raw. I'll take one of everything, Baby Seal Fleet. So this might be Joseph H's first tournament. We shall see. So he's got a Providence, the Providence Christmas tree, with Intensify Firepower, Thermal Shields, Rune Hack Arrow, who I really like with Intensify Firepower. Because he's not exhausting, he's just grabbing whatever's spare to kind of fuel those tokens, which is nice. Point defense, ion cannons, heavy laser turrets, invincible, and early warning system. So really tough. Really tough.
That is tough to bring down for sure.
And then we've got a Recusant Light Destroyer, which to be honest, it is my favorite ship of Wave. Wave 10. It's just so cheap.
Yeah, everyone who brought a Recusant also brought the title Patriot Fish as well in this tournament.
Like, it's 6 points for 2 blue dice. That front arc is just so wide. It's crazy.
You can't get out of it. You can't run away.
Yeah. And even like 2 out the back at close at medium range. It doesn't work at close range. Can just nix a squadron, which is also, or nix a light ship, which is also maybe shot you and got salvoed. Ordnance experts, swivel mounted batteries, so throwing long range blacks as well. So with the swivel mounts and the Patriot Fist, you're throwing at long range 7 dice, 8 with Martuk out that front, 9 with Confire. For 103 points. Sure, this seems perfectly fair, balanced, and reasonable, and terrifying. But that is a nice little package there.
Yeah.
We've got a Muni's Cons frigate with linked turbo laser turrets. You don't really need anything else. That's just a solid ship, solid flak, reliable damage. And then we've got Martuk on a hard sell with Tikis and a comms net. So if he's working in your advantage, you keep him at the back. If everybody's shields are gone, you just send him charging in like a mad, and dare the enemy to throw him up. And Tiki's means like he's just handing off tokens to other people, I would say.
Yeah. This is our only Martuk player in the whole tournament. Kind of surprised me. I thought we might see a few more of him because I like him as an admiral, but only one in the tournament for Martuk.
I think probably people are want to test out the wacky stuff first. And I think everybody knows Martuk is just good. That's
is a
my theory.
List. Yeah, I think there's that could definitely be the case. It's just a tough list because you're not taking down the Providence with
no.
Thermal shields, PDIC, EW. You're just not taking it down, and then the other ships have a heck of a lot of firepower. It's a lot of fun. I don't know how you break it down really.
That Recusant can one shot light ships at long range.
It's a pretty astounding amount of firepower for, like you said, 103 points.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love it. Okay, but yeah, that is a scary Recusant. Okay, so Tarkin tosses tokens to trigger turbo lasers from Martun James C. So double Venators, as you said, double splats. Intensify firepower and take evasive action. Hondo and Naka on the Venator 1, which I prefer to see him somewhere else, but there's no really where else for him to go. External racks on both, splats on both, Resolute on the flagship, and a clone navigation officer on the Venator 1. So Tarkin is triggering tokens, and then we've got the munitions resupply on the Pelt triggering tokens, then we've got Hondo for tokens. Yeah, there's a lot of tokens here.
Yeah, just burning through them too. I intensify firepower and take evasive action.
And the splats, and it's just, yeah, small ships are gonna hate this. Small ships hate this one small trick. Um, and very light kind of squadron ball with kickback, Ahsoka Tano, and 2 arcs. But for 69 points, that'll hit. That'll hit fairly hard if it gets to ships with the 2 arcs. And you're not taking it down easily with anything else. There's a fighter coordination team on that Pelta to move it. And yeah, the medical frigate is doing a lot for its 63 points there.
Yeah, he's got a big bid too, so it'll be interesting whether he wants. I would assume first, but I'm not. I don't know with the Spats. I guess he wants to go first. Um, that's one of the bigger bids we'll see in this tournament.
Yeah, like with splats, you can always fork. They go first, then you can move a Venator, and then you can basically have the splat set up to hit one ship while another ship has got to come into your arc. So it'll be tricky. It's gonna be interesting. Now we have a familiar face with yourself, Ryan, and Sato May the 4th. And do you wanna?
Sure, I'll
I'll
take
leave it to you on this one.
Yeah, this is. I used to fly Kraken, and then Kraken became popular, so I had to find a less popular admiral to fly.
Do you suffer from special slowflake syndrome?
So I went to Sato, and I've been joining them, and I think there's something here. It's. I thought there was something here until thermal shields came, and then PDIC came in the last couple of weeks. So they may have killed this fleet off. It's kind of one reason to fly in this tournament with this fleet is to see if I see something with PDIC and thermal shields, I'll have like no black dice to launch basically. So if you don't have it, then it'll put on some hurt, and then I got a full squad wing, and sometimes you just have to fly stuff that's fun, and I don't think it's much more fun than Han Solo. So I'll be able to.
I just wish he wasn't taking up the Lando slot, personally. Just Lando seems so good. But the one thing you have against thermal shields is if you stay at long range, the pseudo black dice will be okay.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And you'll be able to concentrate fire in. The problem the problem I see is the evades. But 3 scout frigates definitely worthwhile. One thing I had seen before, I think it was Explosive Tuka suggested this, is spinals.
Yeah, if I had the points, it'd be great. I'd actually like if I had the points, and I might in an earlier iteration of the list had instead of Han Solo, I had just another YT, and I had XI7s, and XI7s with APTs works really well as a combo. It just goes straight to your hull. Burns, it's a lot of fun. So we'll see how it does. It may be kind of a dead idea now with the new meta. So we'll see.
Definitely see. Like I think Sato actually is well positioned against thermal shields, but Sato is always very tricky. Very tricky. Okay, so best of luck with that list, and we have got Unskilled Officer flying the Wizard of Oz. So IST-2, Emperor Palpatine, boarding troopers, early warning systems, and leading shots. So it's a cheap enough IST-2. You don't really like shooting at it too much, and it can mess you up if you don't deal with it. So that seems like something you can ram into somebody. Ozzel with an interdictor suppression refit. Nida for the extra defense token, projection experts, decaps, targeting scramblers, grav shift reroute, interdictor. This seems like something that flies behind the IST2. Try to keep it alive. 2 Gazantes, Marek, Jend, and Zertik Valen. Decent squad ball. What do you think of that?
It's interesting. I'm not sure there's enough firepower on the ISD2. I wonder again with a 5-point bid whether they want to go first or second. I think you're right that the interdictor is a battery for the ISD. You would I mean, I guess the Palpatine Boarding Troopers combo is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. You'll be burning through your tokens. So I guess it does kind of want to get in your face and start shooting. So it'll probably actually does a lot more damage than I first thought. First looking at it. So it's interesting fleet for sure. Get your 4 aces in there as well. So I'd be really interested to know if it wants to go first or second.
Me as well. So we're gonna go a bit faster because I've realized we've only got through the first 10 lists. So we got Montana Hunter, which is Artemisiri. We don't have a name on this list. It's an agate list. Starhawk with 130 points of squadrons. Anything interesting, new or unusual that we see here? The
It's
high
the only
capacity ion. Go
it's
ahead.
the only Starhawk in the tournament.
Thank God, said
It's the
everybody
only one.
else. So Montana Hunter to win the tournament, got it. But nothing too non-standard here, except maybe the high-capacity ion turrets, turbines.
Which
Everything.
I really like that upgrade on the Starhawk because only the front of the Starhawk really ever bothers me. But if you throw another blue on the sides, it's really hard to get around at
Yeah,
that
it's
point. So I like that
surprising.
upgrade a lot.
Surprising how much extra kind of damage that adds on. But other than that, fairly standard. Does he have the Magnites? He does not have the Magnites. So yeah, not too shabby Starhawk list, and our only Hawk, King Spads. So I'm guessing this has a lot of. No, it doesn't. That's just the guy's name, Lee Brandt. Sorry, I thought that was the list name. I thought we were going to see splat guns everywhere. We do not. So we have 2 Venators and an Acclamator. I'm actually surprised we didn't see an Acclamator before this, but we've got Lumi. He's not going with the double salvo, but is going with veteran gunners. Clone Captain Silver for slowing that Venator 1 down. Flak guns, heavy turbo lasers, and shields to maximum. And intensify firepower. So we've got our two fleet commands, but we don't have anything really. Got clone navigation officer, flight controllers, reserve hangar decks. So those squads are being asked to do a lot.
Yeah, and it's going to struggle to turn. It looks like as well.
Yeah. So Clone Captain Silver helps one of them. I just wonder would you be better off without those flight controllers, and something more into your squads? Maybe instead of kickback, drop the flight controllers, and see if you can eke out the points for another torrent somewhere. That's my only thought there.
Yeah, it's interesting. It wants to be kind of a tank with the shields to maximum and implacable taking fire. If you concentrate fire on it, at the same time, I think it'll go down faster than was the design of the fleet.
Yeah, because it doesn't have thermals.
I mean, it's interesting too. Taking Lumi with DVYs as your turbo lasers too.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're using probably multiple defense tokens against the bigger ship. I guess against something like squads, it'd be okay. But
Yeah, it's the lack of defenders retrofits kind of concerns me here. But it should be interesting. At least it's got a squad screen anyway. So next we've got Major Turk or Mark Turkin, with his IST2 plus RDR1. Raider 1 is the name of his list. Raider 1, Jerry, Carvis, Iden. That Raider is going to be very hard to catch and very hard to kill. Got an IST2. IST2's so popular. So popular. In this tournament. I don't think have we seen a different ISTE yet?
it might be the only IST in the tournament.
Okay, that is a turnout for the books. We've got Woldar, Gunnery Team. I suppose the black dice and the Kuat with against thermal shields, you're like, what black dice? Electronic count. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I interrupted you. Sorry.
No, you're fine. So the IST2 is fairly standard leading shots, link turbo laser turrets, and then Mornaki, Teltavura, 4 decimators. Okay, well we know what he's trying to do with his squads. Murder you in
Yep.
the squad phase.
Yep. He's gonna stick close to Uldar. On that ISD, he's gonna probably run away with the radar, maybe. And just it's just gonna make a little fortress for you to come into.
Yeah, I think the Raider, like, with Jury, he'll be able to dodge everything. The IST2 probably trying to more dodge arcs and just take shots of opportunity rather than setting itself up. The one thing though, it's that IST2 I think will go down early, particularly with the kind of lack of bid. Or no,
Mhm.
he's got a heavy bid. The lack of activations, the IST2 could go down early, but you're going to be, I think you're going to be playing second with this list.
It'll be. I thought ISD2s would be taking PDIC, and I don't think that's been the case so far. Just for a little extra defense.
Yeah. Okay, Damon Jordan, Xanos1159. Kraken. Kraken said to go fast. So we've got a Custom Light Destroyer, Patriot's Fist, as said before, Reserve Hangar Deck, External Racks, Link Turbo Laser Turrets, or Link Turbo Laser Towers even, a Muni with Rune, Engine Techs, Decaps, Link Turbo Laser Turrets and Heavy Ion Emplacements, Hard Cell, 2 hard cells, 1 with auxiliary shield teams, parts resupply and foreman's labor, and then we've got 3 droid TIE fighters and this. And he's got 399 exactly. So I think you get the Muni in fast. It sets up for everything else. I'm
Yep.
not sure about the decaps.
See, I love it. I guess with Kraken, if you can get close enough. I
Yeah, I
guess
suppose it's
I
got
guess
the
that,
heavy ion emplacements for basically a long range blue crit.
yeah, guaranteed as long as you're close enough to have other ships close enough with Kraken. Only Kraken in the tournament. Good to see him.
Yeah, no, it's decent. I'd be interested to see the objectives. But yeah, with long range blue crits, not too bad. And of course, like once with the guaranteed accuracies out of that Patriot's Fist, if you can get a hard sell in close. And like you've got everything can go speed 3, so it's a fast list. So it'll
Mm-hmm.
be interesting. Then we've got Eric Carey, who we've had on the channel, who's got Plo, our first Plo list. A Vetter 1, Resolute, Clone Navigation Officers, Ordnance Expert, Splat, XX9's turbos for those extra crits, external racks, all fighters follow me. I think that's the first all fighters follow me on Venator we've seen so far. Then
Mm-hmm.
we've got a Venator 2 with Plo, Tranquility, Flight Commanders, Flight Controllers, Expanded Hangar Bay, Early Warning System, Link Turbo Laser Turrets, Assault Concussion Missiles. That is a spicy meatball and can push a lot of squads. I question the early warning system on it, as opposed to thermals again, but again, that's just me. Then we've got Anakin, 3 arcs, 2 Y-Wings, and a Luminara. So the with the flight controllers, the arcs and Anakin and even the B-Wings can throw out good anti-squad dice. They have a lot of hull. They've got counters on the arcs, and they've got Lumi. So if you don't start murdering Lumi first, you're going to be obstructed. So it's a tough fighter wing.
It is for 107 points. It is really tough, and I think Plo works so well with bombers. I mean, that's what he's there for. It's this is the most arcs that we see in this tournament. Only thing, 2 activations.
Yep.
So not something you know as low as it gets. So it'll be interesting to see how that works for him.
Yeah. Well, considering the amount of 3 and 4 activations we're seeing, it's not too bad. Then we have myself.
Yeah, take it away.
So 2 light destroyers, because I was like, what's better than 1 light destroyer? 2 light destroyers. The points cost on them is ridiculous. This is a TF1726 list, so therefore everything got B2 rocket troopers for triggering that extra dice. Got external racks and on the 2 light destroyers, and link turbo laser turrets on everything else. Basically, it is throw red and blacks and reroll the reds and just make them pay for even coming in the neighborhood. So against squad heavy lists, I'll go in slow, and against other people, I can go in fast. And then the squadron ball, I don't like spending too much, but I basically just wanted quality. And I think with the any bomber list is going to have generics. If you want a bomb, you're going to have generics, and Grievous just murders generics. Prophylactic also murders generics. And then we've got Diz for just sniping out that one important squad. And then DBS 404. So if they don't bring any squads, DBS 404 is throwing 3 red dice. And that's just fun. It's got a scatter anyway. And it helps Grievous. If they attack it, it scatters. If they don't attack it, Grievous is getting screen off. Basically,
So
that's the theory.
let me ask you one question. Why no Jedi hostage?
I wanted a little bit of a bid, and basically I wanted a little bit of a bid. That is it completely.
Okay.
And I think it just means that they don't shoot that chip. And the possibility of, like, I've only 3 activations, so there's always a possibility of somebody getting in there and doing the pseudo Darth Vader on it. Sorry, bear with me 1 second. But excuse me, I think it was more the bid rather than anything else.
Gotcha.
It's a good point though on the Jedi hostage. To be honest, I think this list has gone through a couple of different versions, and I think I had more than a 3-point bid. So, and then I tinkered with it and lost it. So I don't think a 3-point bid is good enough. It'll be interesting. I think I've flown it once and it did okay, but it's just the sheer amount of red dice.
I think 3 points will. I think 2-point bids are 56% of the fleets. So more times than not, you'll have the bid. I think.
Yeah, that's not too bad then. I just the drawbacks on Jedi hostage are a bit too much. Okay, so then we have got Jan Hachel, who's got Krista Aviate. New one, copy Squad Ball 2 is the name. Got an assault frigate, the first assault frigate with a gate, so those are unkillable things. Gallant Haven, 2 transports, and a Jaina's Light. All the X-Wing, Jan Ball, and Gold Squadron. So that is serious. They are going to win the squad game.
Yeah.
They're just going to win the squad game. What they do after that, I'm not 100% sure. But they will win the squad game. There's just nothing anyone's doing against that. Those squads sit in the Gallant Haven bubble, and just if anyone comes near them, they eat them.
Yeah, this is rough. This is a well thought out, well planned list. This is a tough list.
And I'm guessing they have Asteroid Tactics for the Adar Talon Lando goodness. So yeah, I think here you have to hold your squads back. You cannot send them in against this list, or they will die. So you better have some shooting firepower in your ships.
It'll be interesting because this type of list, there's so much more. There's been a proliferation of long range firepower in Armada with the Onager, Patriot Fist. This is not a list you see a lot. Where you kind of huddle your fighters close to your fleet as much anymore with the long range firepower. So I think that's the one. We'll see how that would do against like an Onager list, but
it's got double evades though, and it can navigate quite well. That's the only thing with the assault frigate. But no,
It's nasty.
yeah, I think the problem it's going to suffer actually is that the assault frigate's natural predator is the ISD-2. And we've noticed one or two of those in this tournament so far.
Yep, for sure.
Stephen,
That might be the fleet where the token screen that we've seen a lot.
yeah,
It's really useful to get at the ships.
but then
Hide
again,
on the fighters for a turn or two.
those assault frigates can dance, and if it dances out of the way, then it could be a way. Okay, Stephen Glib, Kraken, our first Kraken list. We've got MC30, 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 CR90, CR90, through transports. So that is 7 activations. Fairly straightforward. Go fast, die young, murder people with MC30s. Could do well, would probably do better if there was a lot more onagers around. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's great. I love to see it. I would maybe 7 activations is you don't need that many these days. I would almost want to drop one of the GR75s and just put expert shield techs on everything, just to give
Or
you some
foresight and admonition?
right, just to give you some defense. But I think it's fine. I think I'm flying MC30s without any
Yeah,
defensive tech, and I think they're tough enough now. So you're flying
definitely.
fast to get away from those fighters. So it's great. It's good to see.
Next we have LTT, red, black, and white, Admiral Akbar. So that's 4 CR90As, very subtle, transport, Lando, and 6 YT2400s. So he wants to fly away. This is an oldie but a goodie. He wants to fly away, and the only thing he fears is the Kraken list we just looked at.
Yeah, I think he may have won the Australian Nationals with, or at least a tournament in Australia with this list, or at least a list very similar. It's a nasty list, no doubt about it.
It
Good
is
player.
very nasty. The issue I have is Patriot's Fist running around the place.
Yep,
Um,
long range firepower.
long range firepower. Whether those corvettes can stand up to it, but he's got a 5-point bid, so he does get to set first or second. And I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of most wanting recusitants into the ground. Okay,
In my experience against him, he likes to go second. So
cool. Luke Woodward, Yularen Venator 2. So we've got our first Yularen, 2 Peltas, a Venator 2 with thermal shield, link turbo laser turrets, 5 B-Wings. Plo Koon, Axe, Anakin, and Ahsoka is probably just getting pushed, and we've got 2 Peltas with projection. One with projection experts, Bomber Command, and the extra evade, and the other one then with the clone navigation officers and comms. So 1 Pelta to keep that Ven 2 alive. With the thermal shields, it should stay alive fairly okay. And the boosted comms, it can command those squadrons from anywhere. So a good lot of squadrons. It may get tied down by a small screen though. That would be my only fear. What are your thoughts?
I think it's great. I'm kind of surprised we're not seeing more of this type of thing. Is he not doing? I guess this the Venator 2. For some reason, I'm blanking after looking at 25 lists. Does it have an opportunity to take ruthless strategists? Or
That is a good question.
I'm just blanking, but because I don't think he's taken anything in the gunnery team slot if it's got one, but in the weapons team. So that would just be my one thing. But I think it's great. I think it's a tough pile of squadrons, and everything is supporting pushing those squadrons.
Yeah. The only thing is he's at 400 points.
Yeah.
So that might be the reason. But yeah, very cool list. Backseat Admiral, Admiral Tarkin, Consular, 1 Consular, 2 Consulars, a Venator, and then an Aether Sprite and Ahsoka. So obviously just wants to abuse the Ahsoka Adept. Got a splat cannon on both Venators. So yeah,
Yep, double.
Tarkin splat cannons and chargers then. Okay, so we're going to fly through this a little bit because we are We are less than halfway through, and we're an hour in already. Any thoughts on that one?
Nope, just double splat cannon. Should be fun.
And here we go with more double splat cannons out of Tarkin. This time only 2 ships. Bigger, more defensive ball. Ahsoka, Lumi, and Plo. And then 3 Torrents. We don't have reserve hangar decks, which I'm a bit sad to see. We've got 2 double splats, double thermal shields, external racks. These Venators hit hard. You're taking the splats all the time. You can't just sit back. Your squads are not going to easily get through that field. Decent, more double splats. Be prepared to play against splats in this tournament.
Yeah, I'm good on that one. I don't have anything to add.
Snake Chomp. Mon Mothma. Is this the only Mon Mothma list in here?
No, we have 3 Mon Mothmas.
Oh, God. So we have 3 CR90s, none with Jaina's Light. We have a Neb B with Vanguard, auxiliary or skill first officer and auxiliary shield teams, an MC30 with expert shield techs, ordnance experts, external racks, H9s, and a foresight. That thing is loaded to bear. 2 transports and no squadrons.
Big bid
Big
too.
bid, yeah. I'm not. A lot of activations. I'm not sure. I'm not sure this isn't better as a Kraken list.
Yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, I think there's no real secret to what this list is going to be doing. It's going to be out activating you. It's going to get more shots at you. It's just how does it hold up against squads?
Yep. That is going to be the problem. Okay, Louis Andre, friend of the show, with his 3 consulars, a Venator 1. He's got this is our second Plo list.
Yep.
So yeah, he's taking our advice on Clone Captain Breakman Silver. He's got his ruthless strategist because he's got 7 B-wings. He's got a bomber command on the Radiant, the consular class armed cruisers. So that is like, yeah, this flak is going to murder you. Because that is 6 blue dice of flak as well to support those bombers. So basically, it looks like he's just pushing a giant bomber ball of doom, flacking you, flacking it, and murdering your squads that way, and then just bombing the living daylights out of you with B-wings.
Yep, I think the question is, can it get to where it needs to get to when the time comes, and that's what the silver's for. So it's a really well designed fleet, I think.
Yep, I would not like to be facing it with no squads, and I'm not sure I like facing it with squads either. It's going to be interesting. Tim Barker, Vimes, specific Kenobi. Is this our only Obi-Wan Kenobi fleet?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so he's got Obi-Wan expert shield techs, local fire controls, intensify firepower. So he's kind of built that Venator 1 to be as defensive as possible without having a defensive tech. We've got the Acclamator 1 with expert shield techs, ordnance experts, thermal shields, external racks, and H9s. Do you know what I'd love to see though? I'd have loved to see Implacable on that, keeping that Ven 1 alive. We've got 2 consular chargers, long-range snipers with nothing else, but they are being backed by the intensify firepower. We've got Lumi, Axe, and 2V torrents just to keep stuff off the back. Tough Venator 1. I think it could possibly be tougher, but he'll be dependent on those ships to do a lot of damage. But yeah, I think they fully stand a chance of doing it. Anything you want to add?
Just 4 activations. That's a good amount for Republic.
Yep, definitely. Then we have the tournament organizer, Mr. Large Package himself. We've got Admiral Trench. Is he the only Trench in here?
No, he's not.
Cool.
There's 2, I think.
So he's got Tickles with Trench for basically always having that token. So it looks like that Recussant Support Destroyer is the super Recussant. He's got Patriot's Fist. Is this the only support one we've seen so far? He's got flight controllers, expanded hangar bays, and boosted comms. So, yeah, this support destroyer is for pushing the squads. Then we've got a hard cell with a bomber command and a hard cell with slicer tools. So yeah, perfect. And yeah, there is going to be a lot of Admiral Trench base squadroning. That is
Yeah.
going to be an alpha strike of doom.
Oh my gosh, the 5 hyenas, yeah, followed up with the Patriots fist is going to be brutal. You just the ships are a little fragile, but they're good luck getting close because you have Speed 4 bombers just murdering you.
And if you do have squadrons, Generals Grievous and 5 hyena bombers want to say hello. And
With flight
that's
controllers.
with flight controllers. Like, Grievous can potentially do a lot.
That is a pretty stiff squad, anti-fighter squad ball of, what is it, 70 points? It's not bad.
Grievous can potentially one-shot an arc, which is horrific. So definitely a terrifying squad list there. Andrew Bullen, Rescue Force Resolute. He actually came up with a decent name. We've suffered from a lack of decent names. Unless the large... No, Spider Force 1 is also a good name as well. Pelta, and then 4 consulars, 3 of whom are the Charger and 1 is the armed cruiser. I wonder where the Mercy mission is going. We've got to get splat on the Venator. Bale is going to stay safe behind everything in the Pelta, and yeah, heavy fire zone out of the Venator 1 is an interesting choice. So obviously he's planning on flacking the ever-living daylights of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it may be that the Consular Armed Cruiser is not. I could be wrong. The Consular Armed Cruiser might not be for Mercy Mission. It might be for aiding that flak. Because 2 blue, 37 points is decent. That is an interesting list. It'll be interesting to see how it does against squadrons.
Yep.
Freerix. May the 4th list. 2 light destroyers. That's the second time we've seen them. And this is a TF172 list. This looks pretty similar to my list, except their customers have Shumei, swivel-mounted batteries, and APTs. So in addition, and he's also opted away from the Jedi hostage.
Yeah, it seems to be the thing to do. Got 4 activations in there with the little token fighter screen. So it'll be interesting to see how that one does.
Yep, and doing APTs at long range may be good. Adam Wiley, red fish, shrimp, and guppy. So Akbar popular as ever. 2 MC-30s loaded for bear. And an assault frigate. And Mon Calamari Exodus fleet is the real kind of... I also haven't seen linked turbo laser towers on an MC-30. But with its blue flak, it's actually not a bad choice.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it looks to be those who just try staying alive through tokens and getting it back. To be honest, I have to say I'm not a fan of Mon Calamari Exodus fleet myself.
Yep. I don't think anyone's really ever made it work well. Maybe Adam will be the first.
Maybe he will be. A nice kind of Shara Tycho fighter screen. But it'll be interesting to see. Yeah. Great. Like, those things will hit like a truck. Whether they'll survive long after doing it, that would be the question. Proximity mines as well. So this seems like a list that's going to go second and bait you into whatever it's trying to sell you on its objectives. Caribbean Ninja, Taste the Rainbow. Luminara, Venator 2, Acclamator. Lumi is on the Acclamator. Interesting. So it's a double salvoing Venator 2. Which nobody wants to shoot. A Pelta just providing thingy shields. And then an Acclamator 1 also loaded for bear and flakking. Flak guns, ordnance pods, heavy turbo lasers, implacable, and mercy mission. Now, Venator 2 is going to be very hard to kill, which is why I'm confused as to why Luminara is not on it. But then again, it may be a case of the Venator or the Acclamator just stays behind and takes targets of opportunity. Radiant 7 with CommsNet. That is a 40-point CommsNet flak machine. I love it. 4 activations is good, and the Squadrons is a very good defensive ball with a little bit of kick from having Anakin in it. What do you think yourself?
Definitely puts an emphasis on flak for the whole fleet, which just works really nice altogether. I really like it.
It is pretty cool. Blade Runner, accelerate to attack speed. We've got an MC-80 command cruiser with Krista Agate. Very cool, but I want to see the assault cruiser with the 2 defensive upgrades and Agate people. I want to see the ideas of how to make that work. But either way, again, it's a super carrier again, like one of the lists we looked at earlier.
Oh yeah, yep.
Fighter coordination teams, boosted comms, early warning systems. We've got a Pelta, Tor and Far, fighter coordination teams, and again, pushing B-wings. We've seen it before. It's got Adar Talon. It doesn't have Jan, which I'm kind of disappointed in, and it doesn't have 10 nub for clearing out screens. But it has Dutch and Nora, which are solid.
Went with Wedge instead of Jan, it looks like.
Yeah. I would say Jan might be better, or 10 nub, but you know, everybody loves the Dutch Wedge combo.
Yeah.
Here we've got Roald with Lightsaber Repro Incorporated. I love the name considering it's General Grievous, and Ronald has been tearing the circuit up with squads and separatists, so he definitely knows what he's doing. And now he's not just restricted to the older stuff. So he's got flight controllers, thermal shields. That Providence is going to be hard to take down, particularly with the points of defense, ion cannons, and Grievous. He just burns all his tokens and then he burns them again. We've got hard cell transport with the TI-99. I think that's the first time we've seen TI-99. So even if you go attack those Hyena Dryad bombers, they're getting countered 3. And look, like there's flight commanders on those hard cells so they can move and dodge a bomber command center. 5 Hyena bombers. A hard shell. No DBS 404. But yeah, I do not like it.
I don't want to face it. It's brutal. It's interesting to see how the flight commander invisible hand combo will work. Kind of extreme range if with the Providence carrier. So that's interesting. It's a tough list.
Yeah, and like just alpha strike their squadron defense and hopefully free up or tie them down so that those hyenas can come in behind. Terrifying. Mistache. The Mistache, sorry. Another light destroyer with Patriot's Fist, Shumei, rocket troopers. This is another TF1726. 3 hard cells, all with rocket troopers, linked turbo laser turrets, 1 with expert shield techs, and Foreman's Labor, which is the flagship. And the Recussident gets in there, and then again we've got that's all the TF 1726 lists have 4 fighters as a defensive screen.
Yeah, I think this is the last TF176, I think, or 1726. Just rough, just a lot of angry red dice thrown at you.
Angry red dice moving along, and angry bad. So again, we have Mon Mothma, who has his, and we can't actually scroll away from these objectives. 3 MC30s. This is Muse, Michael Toos. Change your list. Got 3 MC30s loaded for Bear. Admo, I would put Montma on Foresight and put Derlin on Foresight instead. And then we've got Lando on the other unnamed one to try and keep it alive. 2 transports, and then we've Blunt and 5 headhunters. Considering the lack of Mauler Mittel, that actually might be a decent squad. Ball.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Black Dice ships do in this tournament.
And we've Bill Wickens, RJ, Outer Rim Job podcast. I think he was on.
I'll take this one if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I played Bill in the last game of the Battle for Hoth. It was a super fun game. This will be my first matchup. Actually, I'm playing Bill in the first round. So he's got the unkillable Providence carrier with thermal shields, PDIC, invisible hand. and then a ton of angry red dice that he's going to be fixing with intensify firepower and turbo laser reroute with the hard cells that they'll get back or evades with Grievous, and then some squads to get your defense tokens back. So it'll be a consistent amount of ship firepower that'll be tough to face.
Yeah, and it's just everything is survivable. Like those hard cells are just rock solid, particularly with Grievous around. I'm surprised he doesn't have more fighters to kill to it, but I suppose like the Providence is already tough to kill, and it may be a case that Grievous is in there because he's cheap.
Yeah.
In Rob We Trust, Imperial MSU copy, Gladiator. Did we miss Bill's name? Didn't have a name on the list. Gladiator 1. So is this our only demo?
No, there's a couple more demos.
Okay, they're just down the back. So
Yeah.
Glad, Montferrat, nothing odd, decaps, heavy ions, Architons, and Decimators again, Gen and Mark Steel. So fairly straightforward. Do lots of damage. Hope demo finishes whatever doesn't get killed, and then let Decimators kill whatever he doesn't kill. Be interesting. Any thoughts?
No, it's pretty straightforward. It's tough.
Minty Punch, all bark and no bite. 7 arcs, and Anakin is the reason why it's called all bark. Hyperspace rings on Avenger 2, ECMs, Plo Koon. Again, we see a choice of ECMs rather than thermals here. Acclimator 1 with flight commanders, hyperspace rings, link turbo laser turrets, and Avoda B. Armed cruiser with radiate 7 bomber command. So the one thing I'm missing here is, I suppose it's, yeah, no, the flight commanders is perfect. You put those arcs out there and then you just jump in after them. So it's planning to alpha strike your deployment zone.
Yeah, it's really interesting with the hyperspace rings.
I wouldn't mind a flag bridge, all fighters follow me, but he just doesn't have the points.
Mm-hmm.
Then Alexander Yo, another Sato, got a GR75.
And how many hammerheads? I don't know.
Yeah, how it's written is like 1 hammerhead, 2 hammerheads, 3 hammerheads, 4
seven
hammerheads,
activations.
5, 6. Yeah. And they're all the same? Are they?
Yeah, one has Sato on it, but yeah, otherwise, yeah, all the same.
So, yeah, like you'll evade the first 2 Satos and then you'll run out of evades. It's going to be interesting. I don't know that the squad wing is enough for what he's trying to do, but it should be fun. Then we have Aturu79, Gabriele, who are one of the co-organizers of the Italian tournament. Massive bid with 12 points. And yeah, he's got his Emperor Palpatine, Sloane, Quasar, Victory 2, Raider. Fairly standardish zone list, but it does not have Mark Steel, and it does not have Jendon.
Dengar is in there, which we don't see very much anymore.
Yeah, is this our only Dengar?
I think so. Maybe our only Mauler too. I don't know.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. I don't like firing at that Victory 2. And yeah, he's got decaps, H9s, but it is a Victory 2, which means it can be caught and murdered. It does not have a defensive retrofit. So it will be caught and murders. That would be my main concern. But yeah, why can't we be friends? Lovely list name. And then we have, and I apologize in advance, Avinish Ramishur with an Onager Tarkin. This is not a combo we've seen a lot. So he's got Onager, he's got a Star Destroyer Onager. I do not like non-test beds. personally. A super heavy composite beam, so he doesn't have. That's the blue one, which means he can't do long range, so no shooting turn 1. Weapons battery teamed, Intel officer, Glad 1 with Emperor Palpatine demo. So Emperor Palpatine and demo is annoying to have to face. Architects and a Raider 1. So no squads. The Onager Star Destroyer is it's going to put out consistent damage. But I don't know, I'd prefer a test bed myself. And I prefer, like, you could have the Link Turbo Laser turrets. I don't know that it does that much for it. What do you think yourself?
Um, yeah, I think it will struggle with squads for sure. I'm not sure about the decaps on the Raider 1 there.
Yeah.
With that, with pairing it with the assault concussion missiles, it's not going to work. So I'm not sure about that. But four. These are 4 combat ships that can fight. So there's always a
And
space
it's
for
an
that.
onager in a field which has very few of them. And as they say, in the kingdom of the one-eyed man, or in the kingdom of the blind, the one-eyed man shall be king. So we could be very wrong. But there's definitely changes I would make. And Ash, I'm really sorry for the pronunciation of your name. Take down your objectives, so your opponents don't see them in advance if you can at all. Then we've got Nikazan with Lumithermal Saudi defenses. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it, but good name. So it's got 2 Acclimators 2s with the thermal shields. We're not seeing a lot of Acclimator 2 with thermal shields running around.
That's the first. That's an
And
interesting.
I like it. I like it's
Yeah.
92, really hard to kill ship. It's got expert shield techs as well. So it's got Obi-Wan Kenobi for 10 points less. Sorry, 18 points less than his actual cost. Ordnance experts, so that'll do damage, and Link Turbo Laser turrets, good for flacking. The Venator 2, Tranquility, Expert Shield Techs, Local Fire Controls, Flak Guns, Thermals, decent. And then a Pelta class with Engine Techs and Part Resupply. So yeah, it's planning to flak those fighters. It'll be interesting to see if it'll succeed.
Yep.
If they don't kill Lumi though, it's they're going to get eaten by.
That's a great list. I would have liked to have seen the TB-83 or whatever the Pelta upgrade is for the extra evade, but I guess he ran out of points.
Yeah, definitely running out of points, all right. And I can see how Part Supply and Hondo are just essential. The engine techs for staying out of onagers, it is a good call. Then we got Saka26, Bully Bale. So Bale, Venator, Pelta, 2 Consulars, Plo Koon, and 3 Vs. So we've got 2 reserve hangar bays for keeping those VTs, so good token things. We've got 1 splat with it's nothing much to keep it in supply is my only concern. Got heavy concussion missile, assault concussion missiles, which I suppose is nice with the 1 black that you're getting out of the splat cannon. But yeah, it is an interesting list. It's a bit different from the other ones we've seen. One thing I'm surprised we're not seeing is more Pelta spam, considering how survivable those things are.
Yeah.
But the Chargers seem fine. Turbo laser turrets, good snipers. Any thoughts on this one?
No, just a solid fleet.
Then we've Ian Franklin, Galaris from the UK Armada and UK and Ireland Armada Star Wars page. Thrawn returns. So Thrawn, who hasn't been showing up a lot,
Only Thrawn in the whole tournament.
So you have won the special unique snowflake badge, Ian, with this list. Byzanti, Interdictor, ISD2, Bosk, Valen, 2 TIE bombers, Saber Squadron. So Emperor Palpatine, is he the most frequent unique Imperial officer we've seen today?
Yeah, I think so. We've seen a lot of Waldorf, surprisingly, but yeah, Probably Palpatine.
Yeah.
I think it's a solid list. It's whether flight controllers in the IST2 is interesting given the squadron complement. So it'll fight pretty well. I don't know about the 2 TIE bombers, but I always like to see those on the table.
Yeah. So it's definitely going to be like the interdictor will keep that IST2 alive. Thrawn will keep those bombers flying while he repairs and does other stuff. Be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Mateo Vasquez, and we're going to have to zoom in a bit to make this one work. So, Venator 1 with Tarkin, Clone Gunners, Splat, another double Splat list, 2 Peltas with projection experts to keep those Splats alive.
Yep, the only thing is, Kit Fisto's just kind of out there. I don't think he's going to get a lot of value for his 26 points there.
Yeah. He's out there to die. I think 2 Torrents would probably be better serving him. But it will be interesting.
Yeah.
Then we
double
have
slat list is going to be.
Yeah, always going to be tough, particularly on the smaller ships. So stands a decent chance. I think and it's got shields to maximum. I don't know about the shields to maximum, but with projection experts potentially keeping Tarkin alive. So you can see what it's trying to do there: tank and splat.
Mm-hmm.
So then we've got Kellorn with another Admiral Trench, Busted 2 munis. Is this the most munis we've seen in a fleet?
Yep. This is with the PDICs too. I like that. Love that upgrade to see on the munis. Makes them super hard to kill. With the hard sell, it's a chunky hard sell with trench on there and projection experts and parts resupply and beast of burden. But this is a heal fleet. This is a heal fleet with Watt. Where do you really try to do your damage? And Patriot's Fist will toss out a ton of damage before you can take it.
Yeah,
Take
and it's
one
got
of
the
ships down.
swivel mounted batteries as well. And it's got Rune and Tickles and Hondo for token generation. So yeah, this one you're gonna have a trouble killing anything. That's gonna be your main problem. Unless you you gotta wait out the recussidant and then try and murder it before it gets to engineer. The one thing is it doesn't have a great bid, so it may get first last by something out activated. Then we've got Carlo. I think this is Rogue Cracks. Onager, 2 Onagers, Gladiator 1, Ramadi. This is our only Ramadi, is it?
No, Yik has Romani as well. Also double Onager.
Yeah, so double Onager, demo, no squads at Raider 1s, 5 activations. The one thing without the squads, it may be a case that you get to deploy away, but they're not trying for... They can try for the turn 1 Cataclysm thing, but I don't think it's that essential to that list. It may be that they can just run as well. Those onagers are fast. I wouldn't like to be facing them.
It's pretty devastating. It's pretty devastating to see Demolisher in there because you survive 2 Onager shots and then you have Demolisher waiting for you there. So I think that's tough.
And Demolisher and Ramadi is an excellent long range sniper, wackily enough, because it's throwing 4 reds from behind obstruction with a confire after moving, which is no joke. Hey,
maybe why Chart Officer is there. I'm pretty sure this is the only Chart Officer. Maybe for that, and then for Vader, or no, actually no, it's the boarding trooper Vader. So never see Chart Officer. So that's interesting.
So here, what he can do with the Demolisher is there's a number of things. Firstly, he can jump into an asteroid and shoot out of it, keeping Demolisher a little bit safer. Secondly, asteroid tactics. how many people are going to have asteroid tactics in their lists? But yeah, it's Rokrax, so scary before you even look at the list, and then you go double onager and you go, oh shit. Captain Griff's Gambit, so Durgerod again, IST2 again. This went back by a victory and Harrow. So Asian Callus, flight controllers, so all about winning the squadron game through combined arms. It's got Modular Mythal, Mark Steel, Monarchy, and Darth Vader. So it's a screen, but they're going to murder you when you get in close. I don't see anything apart from Marek doing too much damage to ships, though.
No, it's an interesting. It's one of it's smaller again. It's going to be playing with the ranges. That's with the decaps on Victory 2. It's gonna kind of surprise you how much it'll hurt at long range, and you're not really going to want to close that much either. It's kind of interesting.
It's definitely interesting, and it's a 17-point bid as well. So maybe that's the gambit.
Largest in the tournament.
You win that one, Griff. Then we have Alan Stelly, Mercier, so Venator, Acclamator, Consular, and 8 arcs. Yeah, arcs everywhere as far as the eye can see. I take it they are the most taken squadron in the tournament, are they?
I don't know. I had missed.
They would be
this
tied
list.
between that and B-Wings. And yeah, because like there is a lot. But Venator don't have a splat cannon. All fighters follow me though, so this is all about the arc damage. Yularen, pushing that stuff. Acclamator, so they can push.
Double ordnance. I'll just say double ordnance pods. So they're gonna try to keep these as close as possible until the last minute when they throw them all at you.
Well, it's one activation throws them all, which is mad. Because that Venator 1 starts at 5, gains 1 from the expanded hangar. With Yularen, the token does 2. So then the Consular armed cruiser, the Acclamator, can do whatever they want. But then again, it is the Navoda B. Have I got my... No, I have my Venators. I have my Venators confused. Sorry, that Venator 1 is only pushing 4. Say again?
Oh no! I think it was the Venator 2 has the 5, and the Venator 1
it's so easy to get them all confused. I should have noticed though from the commands. Yeah, throwing arcs at you until you duck. Then we've got Russell Long. So I'm facing this. It's 4 Architons, and then a severely rogue heavy fighter ball. So you have to kind of run into those squads to get at them. Got 4 activations is decent. I'm not looking forward to it. And he's got a load of disposable officers for Darth Vader. Those are going to be fairly reliable reds.
Yeah. Good luck with those architects.
Then we have Yik, which is Yiko. So I presume that's Yik. So double onager. Doesn't have Demolisher. Has a much more terrifying squad ball though. 2 fire sprays. That is not a squadron we have seen in a while. But then again, it's a very self-sufficient squad ball.
Yep, because if you try to run away from the onagers, the rogues will just go after you, and they'll be able to hold their own. And I guess that's it. Don't run away from onagers, people.
Yeah, just straight down the barrel, dodging arcs. But yeah, he's got Wreck Heel. That's the only Wreck Heel we've seen. Both are test beds. He's not trying the Cataclysm turn 1 trick either. So he's just waiting for you to kind of wander in. It'll be interesting. Yeah. I really want to see how onagers do against the amount of recussitants we've seen in the field.
Thermal shields.
Thermal shields as well. Yep. So then we have Tisu, 2021 Mats no objectives. So how many? We've got 3 MC30s, 2 transports, and some headhunters. Have we more headhunters in this tournament than we have X-wings?
I think that's the case for sure. Something's wrong.
Has anyone checked if hell has frozen over? Yeah, so we've got advanced projectors on Mon Mothma with Lando. We've got foresight, we've got admonition, we've got expert shield techs. It'll be interesting. Good 5 activations. Okay, and finally our last list, Matt Prime. Another Jerry list. We literally have only IST2s. It's crazy. And we've more IST2s, I think, than we have Architons.
That might be the case for sure. This is another fleet of how are Black Dice ships going to do in this meta. You got the Glad one and double Raiders. So
yeah. They're not trying to proc, though. They're just throwing external racks.
True.
So that's the
I
one thing there.
I do like the double reserve or triple reserve hanger deck interceptors.
Yeah. So those ties are just to simply keep everyone alive. And like it's got ECMs, PDICs, and local fire controls. So it's salvoing and it's staying alive relatively well, this IST2. And then Demo's probably trailing along going, hello, just pass by the planet IST2, I'm here to make your day bad. The Raiders without Idens, without any kind of defensive tech, not even Corvus, I don't know how well they're going to stand up to all those Patriot fists. That's the one thing.
Yeah. It might be just discarding evade as fast as possible, I guess.
With 2 blue, they might be facing down not getting to evade, and that's the really tricky bit. But anyway, that is all the lists. Would you believe it? We are done.
Do we have anyone listening still?
Luckily, this is why we don't stream. So it is going to be a pretty cool tournament. I am looking forward to it. But yeah, best of luck to everyone playing. And if we were harsh on your list and you think we're talking our ass, please tell us, because if we're mean about your list, remember we're just assholes on the internet. So feel free to tell us why we're wrong. Or prove us wrong by winning the tournament.
Good luck, everybody.
And listen, thank you so much for joining us, Ryan. All right, stay safe, look after each other, and we'll see you on the battlefield.